Ho, me hearties. Welcome aboard the good ship QI, where tonight we're scouring the oceans of interestingness in search of flotsam in a programme that's more or less a ragbag of bits and pieces, beginning with F, and helping me to separate the facts from fiction and the flim from flam are the effortless Charlie Higson. The effervescent Andy Hamilton. The ineffable Rob Brydon. And the sweet F in Sweet FA, Alan Davis. But before we slip anchor and catch the tide, Matterlows, let me inspect your bell buttons. So, Charlie goes... Andy goes... Rob goes...
Oh, I do inside.
Oh, and Alan goes...
What is it, lad?
Very good. So, now, for your convenience tonight, if you have anything nautical or nice to tell me, you can actually catch my eye, as well as using your buzzer, by waving your international maritime flag, which you should have somewhere under your desks. There you go. Charlie, yours is R Romeo in the MCC colours there. And that means...
it looks like... I think it's a kind of nautical bumper sticker.
Yeah.
It's like, my other ship is a destroyer.
Oh, very good. It actually means you can feel your way past me. That's its meaning there, but I'm going to be pretty...
How do you do that? And that's not a proper nautical term.
No,
surely.
well, it is. It's the way is off my ship. You may feel your way past me. And yours is a Z, Z Zulu. It actually means I require a tug. So, come and see me in my cabin. I'll see what I can do.
No, I think I won't be needing that.
And yours, Rob, there? It's actually J, or Juliet, J Juliet, and it means I'm on fire.
How strangely
So you can come to my cabin as well. Or it has a second meaning, which is I'm leaking. So, Alan, yours is...
Coming up behind.
No, it's D Delta, and it actually means keep clear of me, I'm manoeuvring with difficulty. Well, mine is U, and it means uniform, it means you're running into danger. Yeah. That's a good one, isn't it? There's another sign language which is akin to this, which is semaphore, and I just wonder, you get very good points. If you can tell me, do you know any semaphore symbol? Can you tell me what it means? There's one incredibly familiar one that I didn't know until today was actually...
this one.
Semaphore.
This one is Welcome Back to the Arrivals Lounge. You see that at airports all the time.
Where, what's that?
I'm drunk and I'm having a piss.
This is Stand and Deliver.
Oh, yes, Adam, very good. If I were to tell you that 2 arms down like that is N, and up here is D, ND, standing for nuclear disarmament in a circle.
Oh, C&D.
Is the Bond symbol.
We did News Quiz, the radio show, with a signer quite a few times, and it always interested me because you're mentioning topical characters, and it's amazing how quickly they come up with, like, Prince Charles is that.
Yes.
And we were doing material about Bill Clinton, and I waited to see what the signer would do, and he just did his zit.
Wonderful.
Brilliant.
In America, the American sign language is slightly different than R, is just to crook your finger like an R. And so Ronald Reagan was like that. 2 R's, Ronald Reagan.
That makes sense, because a lot of girls that I've been out with, my name is Rob, of course, they've made that sign to me.
I'm sure they have. I can't believe it. Now, can you guess what these flags mean and what the letters stand for?
A, B, C, D, E.
That's O, actually, and it means overboard.
Oh, right. It's not just to generally express interest in something another ship has said. You know. They say something, they go,
Also, if someone's fallen overboard, is there
Yes.
really time to put a flag up? And there's a bit of a lack of urgency. No, never
Going through the
mind.
flag box.
Yeah.
God, I can never find the one I want. It's drowned by now. Overboard!
And the next one is... I think that's actually N, which means no.
So
Stick with that twist.
that after the one before is, oh, no.
Absolutely.
I've spilt something on these trousers. Oh, no.
We've got a third one.
That's a pyramid reflected in a lake.
Oh, no, it's a rather sweet one. It's F, actually, and it means I'm disabled. Communicate with me.
That's a rather patronising view of the disabled, though. That they have to have a flag to be communicated.
I was going to speak to him, but the little fella didn't have a flag, so I didn't bother.
They only wave the flag if they want you to talk to them. Yes.
Is there a flag we can use to say, does he take sugar?
Yeah.
Oh, heavens. Well, there you are. You've found a whole new use. I think it's a magnificent... The science of flag communication. It's more or less fallen as it is used these days, obviously, but they used it most famously when? What's the kind of famous signal that was sent in
The Battle of Trafalgar.
1805, exactly. And what was that? Do you remember?
Well, it's commonly quoted as, England expects every man shall do his duty, but
Yeah.
they reckon that was a slight mistranslation. It said something slightly different.
Well, actually, Nelson instructed his signal master to say, Nelson confides that every man shall do his duty. Confide meant in those days has faith in the fact that, as it were. And neither Nelson nor Confide were flags. There was no flag for them. But there was one for England and there was one for expects. So it became England expects that every man shall do his duty, yeah.
Why couldn't they do Nelson? If there's a flag for N and a flag for E and a
You
flag...
could have done it letter by letter. Obviously, you can do that.
They'd
yeah.
been shot by the French before they finished. But it's lucky they had flags for do their duty.
Yes.
You know, if they could only use the flags they had.
Yeah.
It's-
Say, sorry, Nelson, we've only got go home now.
It's, the,
Yeah.
it's Nanny's flag for have a poo. Make sure you've done your duty. There we are. Oh, anyway. Sorry. It's awful when you make a sort of observational comic remark, you realise you're the only person in a room of 1,000 people to whom that means anything.
No, all the audience were nodding. in recognition.
Yes, my
They all
name.
say that
I
to their
say that
dogs.
too. Yeah, anyway, fair enough. One more question on the subject. Who burns the most American flags? Yay.
Americans.
You're absolutely right. We were hoping you'd say Iranians or something
right.
like that. It's absolutely right. But more than that, it's a particular group of Americans, oddly enough.
The worst American flag company. Because they get them, they put the stars down the wrong cop. Like, God damn it, they'd say.
They would.
I was going to say bloody hell, but they would
No,
say,
you're right.
oh,
Yeah.
I
jack
think
shit.
It's not
and
the
they
Klan,
would
is it?
do it.
No, it would be...
Not the KKK. Do they burn the flag?
No.
No, they don't.
Would
like
it be launderers? People who iron flags for a living? Would they?
Oddly enough, it's the Boy Scouts of America and the American Legion, because the Americans, as you know, have an almost religious view of their flags.
yeah.
And if they get dirty and tatty,
Wow.
you have to dispose of them. And it's advised the best way to dispose of it with dignity is to burn it.
I was a Boy Scout and we went to an international jamboree in Sweden. And we were given the place next to the American Boy Scouts, who were squeaky clean, and got up at like 7:30 in the morning for this almost, like you say, religious running up of the flag.
Yeah.
You know, and we found this quite irritating every morning. You know, we're having breakfast, trying to drink our lager and stuff. And they were... And we had a kid with us called John Pennington, who was fantastically fast. He was like Billy Whiz. And John went across and stole it and ran off into the woods. And it caused a sort of minor international incident. We had this delegation of the organisers came to see us and said, the Americans are saying if you don't return their flag, they're going home. We thought, result? We thought, that's great. So in the end, grudgingly, we returned their flag. But it was a very good early insight into American foreign policy.
Well, because we have a royal family, we don't have to invest our sense of patriotism and statehood and everything into something as odd as a flag, whereas Americans don't have that. They have to sort of use this flag, and they really are very sensitive. Nobody cares about the Union Jack particularly. I mean, it's sometimes flown upside down.
As we're being very dull and pedantic, which is what one does on this show,
Yeah.
are we not supposed to call it the Union flag?
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's only the Union Jack.
I mean, that was boring. There's
It
nothing
is the
funny
Union
about
Jack,
it.
though, when
When what?
flying from a
Flying
from a boat.
from a boat.
Yes.
It's a what?
It's a Union Jack then.
It's only a Jack when it's on a boat.
Yeah. There is one state flag in the United States of America that has our Union flag, what we would wrongly call the Union Jack, as part of it, quarter of it. Do you know which state it is in the Union?
Tennessee,
No.
Ohio,
Alabama.
No,
Carolina.
it's Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Well, I was just about to say.
Hawaii.
Anyway, yes, the Boy Scouts of America, burning an old worn-out flag is considered the most dignified way of disposing of it. Right, while we're all at sea, what's the difference between flotsam and jetsam?
One floats and one sinks.
No.
One is spelt with a J, one's spelt with a
There are four kinds of wreckage.
Flotsam is something that's fallen off a ship because it's got wrecked or something, and Jetson has actually been thrown off by someone.
Yes, correct. Jetsam has been jettisoned. Very good. Very good.
How do you know that? Did you really work that out?
Yeah.
Well, it's,
From
you know,
jeter, the
some
French
of us,
to throw.
some of us paid
is pretty
attention
good.
at school, Alan.
Not that one again. That seems to be the root of all my problems. Just wasn't
I
interesting.
can also tell you that Lagan is what's on the bottom of the sea.
You're absolutely right. And there's only
But you
one
said there's
more.
a fourth one.
There is a fourth one.
What's the Jetson?
Lagan is cargo that is lying at the bottom of the ocean, sometimes marked by a buoy, which can be reclaimed. But there's another one which lies at the bottom of the ocean, which no one has any hope of reclaiming.
Rocks.
That's derelict.
Derelict.
So they're the four classes of wreckage according to the 1995 Act, which covers these things. But the odd thing is, if you find such a piece of wreckage from a ship and you decide to keep it, you can be fined £2,500. You have to pay twice the value of it to the owner of the original ship.
You have to have salvage right.
Yeah, it's very, very strict.
But does that date back to the days when all the West Country and its keep off,
They call them
luring
British
people onto
wreckers.
rocks?
That's like if you run over a pheasant
Yeah.
and pick it up,
yeah.
then that's a crime. But if you're following someone and they've run over the pheasant and you just find it... I found this out because we did some filming once for Jonathan Creek and we were filming on a big estate and there were pheasants everywhere and all the crew had to drive into this house every morning and the pheasants, stupidly, the way they fed the pheasants was from a truck.
Oh, no.
So any time a vehicle came past, pheasants would come and run towards the road. And on about the fourth morning, Billy, the best boy, had just had enough of slowing down for every pheasant and did about 6 of them. And then the people behind picked them up.
Why do you think it is then when you're in Australia you see so many dead kangaroos at the side of the road when in the outback there is lots of other space? Why would they be at the roadside?
Because water gathers on the road surface and they come to drink there.
That's interesting. It's certainly not... No, that's good.
I've seen it.
Did you want that not to be an answer?
No, I knew the answer and I was hoping you were going to say I don't know and I was going to say the answer. Thanks for that.
Now, from Flotsam to fan clubs. You'll remember that famous double act, Batman and Robin. What did the boy wonder use to sign his autograph?
Beside the seaside.
Well, that boy wonder from the television series
Yes.
was played by Burt Ward.
Ward,
And
yes.
ironically, he was Bruce Wayne's young ward,
Ward,
Dick,
yes,
wasn't
yes,
he? Dick
was.
Grayson.
Yep.
And he went on to a career in pornography. So I'm wondering, therefore, if this is a novelty question and if he signed it with his... He used to see a young lady and say, quick, to the bat pole.
He wrote an autobiography called something like A Life in Tights, and it was basically just
Very
sex.
good, Charlie
Sex
Higson.
on every page.
He wrote an autobiography called Boy Wonder, My Life in Tights. And he revealed in that he did send autographs to thousands of women using what he called bat sperm to sign his name.
Was it actually bat sperm?
Which is another degree of awfulness, isn't it?
Well, a fiendish plan, hundreds of bats, come on!
He called it the ultimate autograph, and apparently Batman watched. According to his book.
He watched which part of the proceeding did he watch? Can I watch? Bert? Sure, Adam.
How many times would you want to watch something like that, though? I mean, I can see a certain kind of morbid fascination.
Can you?
Well, yeah.
I'm just getting a message I rather misunderstood about Bert and his spat sperm. It turns out he didn't actually write his name in the sperm. It was his euphemism for shagging them. He gave them the ultimate autograph by shagging them. So I prefer the original explanation.
Yeah.
So imagine someone comes up to him in the street and says, "Could I have your autograph?" And before you know it... Whoa, hang on!
Yeah. Yes. Would you mind if Alan Davis watched? So that's what Adam West was watching.
He was watching them having sex.
Yeah.
That goes on a lot in show business. I think to the average man in the street, the idea of watching another person having sex is a bit odd. But I think within the world of show business, press and company excluded, you do hear stories of that sort of thing going on, don't you?
Do you?
Dad's Army were famous.
Dad's Army? Stop it! Stop it! How dare you?
Yeah.
Will do!
They don't like it up them.
Oh, dear me.
My sister Dolly what?
In 1968, they cancelled Batman, and he found it hard to get work again, sadly, so his life...
I think how that should read is, and he then found work getting hard.
You're a very bad man.
I'd just like to say, I've got his autograph.
My word, you should be very, very proud. Anyway, yes, according to his autobiography, that's what he did. Anyway, where would you find the world's biggest flasher?
Is it going to be about a lighthouse?
Well, oddly enough, one of the answers is about something that is called a lighthouse but isn't a lighthouse. The other one is the biggest flasher in nature.
Right. Is it the Statue of Liberty? Is that a lighthouse?
No.
It's not a light.
I think...
It's not a light at the top of the Statue
Well, I
of
think like
Liberty.
a lot of tall structures, it
Yeah,
has to have a flashing light
Yeah.
on top for aircraft. Rather than... Don't look so contemptuous,
Yeah.
Rob.
Well, hang on, Big Ben, is that a lighthouse?
She's got a torch.
There's a light up there, yeah. But I mean, I've got a light on my top floor, but I don't have a lighthouse.
Is it Big Ben then?
You're leading the poor boy astray. No. Well, there's an organic one. There's an animal that is probably the...
Electric eel?
But you're in the right ballpark. Is it?
One of those fish like they have in Finding Nemo. Well, it dangles a light in front of its mouth.
Well, it's certainly a fish that uses what is known as...
The anglerfish.
Phosphorescence.
It's phosphorus. They call it bioluminescence, yes.
Right.
Glowworms and fireflies.
Fireflies.
But under the water, 90% of marine creatures give off light.
Is it a squid?
It is a squid. It's a 7-foot squid. It's called the day nurse squid. It's an amazing creature. There it is.
The day nurse squid.
No, not day nurse. Dana octopus
Which
squid.
you can take in without being drowsy. Is it?
It's a non-drowsy formulation of the North Pacific Dana octopus squid. And it's really bright. It dazzles and disorients its prey with its light.
Does it need to do that if it's 7 foot long?
Yeah, well, it's just an added weapon in its arsenal. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
It's in it. Where is it?
You're all to behave. Bios, meaning living, and lumen is Latin for light, of course, so it's bioluminescent. There are all kinds of jellyfish and things that wander around like, there you see, that give off light. Very beautiful. You're a diver, you've probably seen some.
At night,
Yeah.
all the ugly fish come out.
Of course.
It's really
You don't
interesting.
need to be pretty out there.
That's right. And you go to the Red Sea, and in the day, the fish are beautiful, colourful fish, and then at night, they're all bug-eyed. They limp around, and most of them are
Strange whiskers
poisonous, and they've got
coming out.
spines on, and
Yeah.
you're not allowed to touch them, and they'll kind of look at you. Oh, the night fish. And they shine a light, and they go, no! Don't look at me! Don't look at me!
Well, now, that's the answer to the greatest flasher amongst the animals, is that North Pacific Dana octopus fish. But in nature, also, it is an extraordinary effect that takes place in Venezuela. For 10 hours a night, up to 280 times an hour for 180 days of the year. At the mouth of the Catatumbo River in Venezuela. What's so extraordinary about this phenomenon is that it is the greatest source of ozone, we think, on Earth. It actually helps mend the ozone layer. It gives off enormous amount of ozone, all this electrical storm activity.
Is it a tourist attraction?
People do go to see it, yeah. It's
It's the kind of thing when you book for 2 weeks, there'd be nothing.
Oh, that would be difficult, wouldn't it?
It
Yes.
should have been a last week.
Because-
Yeah.
There's 180 days a year is almost exactly half of the year, isn't it? So the chances are good.
I think I might go there.
Yeah, it looks well worth it,
I'll
doesn't
report back.
Yeah.
I'll go now.
Lightning goes up as well as down, which
Yes.
a lot of,
I believe
people
it
don't
does.
realise.
it? No, that's right.
Which
Yeah.
is why they sometimes find these dead parties of tourists, and they find their cameras and they work out how they died because all their last pictures are of each other, all standing like this with their hair standing on it, as they're just about to be discharged with a massive jolt of electricity from the top.
Yeah. I mean, it is phenomenal, the power and the... You smell it, of course. I mean, there's a big electrical storm like that, you can smell it in the air. Have you ever seen the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights?
Seen it in Canada.
In Canada, yeah.
But only faintly, not like that.
No, that's a very impressive one. How far south do you think they've been recorded?
Basildon.
A very specific place. Actually, further south, Rome. Rome, yeah. In the 1850s, they had a huge amount of this. Do you know what causes them?
Radiation from solar winds. From
Yeah,
the
it's
sun.
magnetised particles on the solar winds hitting the atmosphere and lighting up in that way. And then when you have particularly heavy activity, almost the whole Earth, because the southern lights, the Aurora...
Aurora.
The Aurora Australis. Yeah.
That is almost what I said.
It
funnily
is,
enough.
I know. I
Completely by chance.
Spooky, wasn't it? Yeah. The Aurora Australis almost meets the Aurora Borealis. Almost the whole world is
I was in
gets the
Edmonton
effect.
in Canada, and it's right in the middle of the prairies, and a thunderstorm was coming towards Edmonton, and the Edmontonians I was with sat out in the garden and watched it, and they said we've got about half an hour because you could see that far flat.
Yeah.
And so you can watch the lightning and the whole thing getting nearer and nearer and nearer, and then they say, right, we better go in now. Yeah. And you go in, it's torrential downpour, crashing lightning, and then it passes, you'll come out.
Extraordinary,
It's
isn't it?
fantastic. It's really entertaining.
I do like a good thunderstorm.
I went to Ayers Rock, Uluru, in Australia, and there was an electrical storm while I was in a helicopter flying around Uluru. And I remember the Australians were always laid back. It started getting a bit noisy. You couldn't see anything out the glass bubble because of the rain on it. Yeah. And then he just went, I think we better land.
Oh, God. I was in a light aircraft in Sydney and when the big storm came in. They took us up the river and they take you and they leave you for a day with a picnic and everything. And they come and pick you up. And this storm was coming in and we couldn't make it. We didn't make it all the way back. And I remember now you saying that has sparked this memory.
Oh, I'm so pleased it did. It's great. No, that's lovely. Let's all sit on the sofa and look at your slides as well.
I take it from that you don't want me to get them out.
No, I think we can move on. It's been lovely hearing about your holidays.
So it's fine when he's in a helicopter, but me in a light aircraft, suddenly, when he told me, it was fascinating.
Had the bad luck to be the one that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was already creaking when we were getting towards the end of his story.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, all I'll say is this.
Yeah.
We had to land and get a bus back to Sydney, and we were 3/4 of an hour late for a Rod Stewart concert, OK?
To think we might have missed that. I hope you were in time to have him kick the footballs into the audience.
Yes, we were there for that, Steve.
Oh, good, good. That's obviously the climax of an exciting evening. So, Talindia dani, species of squid, is the largest creature to use bioluminescence. However, an even bigger flasher, of course, is the lightning show in Venezuela at the mouth of the Catatumbo River. Moving on now to a question of fragrance. Why did the East German secret police steal people's underwear?
Beside the seaside.
So that they could say to them, "You may now go. You are no longer under a vest."
Oh, I say, that's very good.
It's not bad, is it?
It's very impressive.
It's a sort of play on words.
It almost is.
You get an accent in there. There's something for everyone, really.
Excellent.
Did they want to see how frightened people were of them?
That would certainly reveal that. What do you remember what they were called?
Stasi.
The Stasi, yep.
Was it to see if people were in contact with the West?
Well, it was a way of trying to keep track on their dissidents, almost literally, really. What they wanted was a sort of database of the smell of all their dissidents, so that their dogs would recognise them.
Oh, my God.
Really?
So everyone they thought was a danger, might escape, might need tracking down. They started off by swabbing them with yellow sort of rags and asked them to swab their underarms and their groins and put them in a jar.
Yeah.
And then they invented a chair, which sort of... There you see some of the collected ones there. And then they invented a sort of chair that would collect the sweaty bits and
the only people in the Stasi, surely, that would want that job would be the major pervs, wouldn't they? I mean,
seriously.
When they go for the interview, so what do you think you could bring to the Stasi? I'd like very much to be the guy that goes out and swabs all the dissidents under their arms. I'm thinking I would enjoy this ever so much.
Oh, and they did it for years. You're absolutely, I mean, it is most peculiar.
It does sound like a new perfume range, though, doesn't it? Dissidents from Calvin Klein.
It does! Dissidents. Oh, that's brilliant. And we know where a huge store of dissident smells lives. And in fact, the very day the wall came down, the jolly revellers burst into the east and broke into the Stasi headquarters. And they found these jars and jars and jars and boxes and boxes and boxes. And it became underwear afterwards because, tiring of doing this, they actually would raid dissidents' houses and, amongst other things, would take away their underwear for their smell collection. But the odd thing is, there's something very German about this because only last year the unified German government started doing the same thing with suspects, with people they thought would be violent, anti-G8, anti-globalism protesters. They started collecting their smells. I mean, we locked them up for 42 days. They took it. Let's press on now to feasts. How did the Borgia Pope Alexander VI celebrate the Feast of the Chestnuts? There is Alessandro Sei.
He had someone stuffed with chestnuts.
Oh, that's horrible, isn't it? That's a punishment. Yeah. No, he was pretty... This is a pope we're talking about. His Holiness the Pope. Actually, no, he had prostitutes, naked prostitutes. He would throw the chestnuts on the floor and they would grovel after them, picking them up with their teeth.
Of course, yes, because he was a pope.
Because sort of... Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, he wouldn't stuff people with chestnuts. He was a pope.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something salacious, but that's right. Why can't we have popes like that? We have these popes who go
They may
around.
be like that.
Yeah,
maybe
they are. We don't know.
And there was one, Formosus, who made such an enemy of his successor that when his successor was Stephen VI as Pope, had him dug up and put on trial. His body was put on trial. And he spent most of the trial yelling at the corpse, and someone behind it had to move his... kidding.
What do you got to say to that?
Yeah.
As I thought, nothing.
When they could get a word in, someone standing behind it would say, you know, like a ventriloquist would say, that he denied the charges. Anyway, he was then condemned...
to death.
And, yeah. His 3 fingers he used to do papal blessings with were cut off his skeleton.
Did the man behind go, ow!
Oh, my fingers! And he was condemned to be reburied in a common grave. But then...
No, not a common grave!
Yes.
No!
But then...
Come back in the box!
But then Stephen...
Get back in the box! No, get me out of the box! Get back in the box! No, get me out of the box!
But Stephen, who had done this to him, he was deposed, imprisoned and then strangled. And then another pope called John IX, he brought Formosus back. His body had been rescued from the common grave. He was reburied as a pope again, so it was all well in
Was
the
he
end.
found innocent? Was he?
Yeah,
Was
he was
the body?
found innocent, exactly.
That's a TV series, probably, isn't it? Yeah. Pope Trial.
It's a long-running, certainly a long-running West End show.
Even as I say that, there's a Channel 4 executive out there going,
yeah.
do you know what?
I could see Ray Winston as a corrupt pope, couldn't you?
Brilliant.
Oi, you slag! Chestnuts on the floor! Forage!
Oh, shaming. Anyway, the Borgia Pope celebrated the Feast of the Chestnuts with an evening of prostitute racing in the Vatican. Now, lastly, once again, to F for forfeit. It's general ignorance, so fingers on those buzzers, if you please. Name the inventor of rugby football. Yes.
It was invented at rugby school when a boy picked the ball up and ran with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, except it wasn't, oddly enough. But I thought you might know his name. But
William
no.
Webb Ellis.
Oh, thank you.
That was like a Captain Oates job. I just
Thank you,
threw
indeed. You
myself.
sacrificed yourself. You threw yourself on the grenade.
The Rugby World Cup?
The Webb Ellis Cup, yes. The odd thing is that they have this little memorial saying that with a fine disregard for the rules that the game has played, he first picked up the ball and ran, as if they'd all been playing football. But football wasn't codified till after They're claiming this rugby game happened. Rugby is an older game, and there were lots of ball-handling games like that, so no one really believes it. The story was first told 3 years after Webb Ellis died.
And in the original Football Association rules, you were allowed to catch the ball, weren't you?
Yeah, I believe you were, until it was...
Can we see the picture again that was up before it? The one of... you look at that and you think, my God, prison life gets easier as each day goes by.
I love those old Victorian team.
I do, because
they're
the
lounging about casually. Quite often there'll be someone lying down. But when did those team photos start? When did people start? When was it something to do with the war? When suddenly it's all in lines, rigid lines, hands on knee. But all the Victorian era ones are great.
They are, they're absolutely
Casually.
lounging.
Sometimes they're just draped over one another.
Yeah, why are they? When did it change? Because you'd think, if anything, they'd been more rigid in that. You know, they would have been more likely to be nicely in rows and all together, and less so as the years have gone on.
If you absolutely had to, which one would you?
Oh, I'm not going to give that away. Oh.
Which one would you first?
Oh, just so
Your
bad.
stamina is...
Oh.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Yes, William Webb Ellis died unaware of his apocryphal role in sporting history, although the modern game certainly does have its roots in the 19th century public school system. From rugby to Eton, what was James Bond's job?
He was a secret agent.
Is that what you want? Yeah. No, in the British Secret Service, an agent is an informant to what Bond was, which was an intelligence officer.
You know how he got the job, Sean Connery? He went for the audition and then he walked away and the producers watched him out of the window.
And Fleming was present.
And Ian Fleming, I was about to say that. Ian Fleming was present. And he walked away and they said he walked like a panther.
Yep.
Which, when you think about it, would be on all fours.
Yeah.
And would make him look like a ruddy lunatic. Not the sort of man you want botching up the schedule on an expensive film. Oh, look at him, he's doing it again. Sean, please, get up.
There are no chestnuts down there, Sean, baby. But, no, he does have a fabulously lithe walk, didn't he?
What's the difference between your walk and your gait? Is it the same thing?
Not exactly, is it? The gait is the sort of picture, the angle, it's the signature of your walk. You can recognise someone by their gait.
Can your gait be when you're
They
stood
can be
still?
still.
I recognise Herb, I heard gait.
Yeah.
Do you know who's got the funniest walk, I think? Is Liam Gallagher.
Oh, yes.
He's got that walk that you do, you know, when you're 17, you're out with your mates and you do that down... Well, maybe you don't, but I really do it sort of slightly. But he still does it, and he's, what, about 47 now, isn't he?
You know, well, Mick Jagger still does his...
Strut. He's
whatever
kind of
you want to call
cockerel
it.
strut.
I imagine that he grew up in a house with a very narrow doorway.
Well, it's not... Noel Gallagher's house was all French windows.
They had it all knocked through. But Mick had those funny little half-opening doors.
Excellent. There you are, that's it. You see, the security services...
Still enjoying it.
It's only one more. No, it's good. He is virtually arseless, isn't he, Mick Jagger? He has no bottom. It's really odd.
Someone else who's arseless is Ian McShane.
Is he arseless?
Told on quite good authority by a costume person.
Really?
It came up in conversation. Someone was saying, "Oh, Deadwood's very good. Have you seen Deadwood?" And someone just went, "No bum."
Well, he must have... Mechanically, he must have something.
He folds himself.
He's got an anus. I'm sure he's got an anus.
They have
Oh,
to...
all right, yeah.
No buttocks. It's fascinating.
That's the point.
Flat.
It's a nightmare for a dresser, because they keep falling... They have to staple his trousers to...
He has to have a little dress to go behind him with all the scenes, just holding them up.
You put a little pelmet across there and just hang them from then.
You could. Arse helmet. The security services actually call their staff officers, agents or informants who are not members of staff. Why is Bedfordshire quite like Uzbekistan and Liechtenstein?
Bedford's not got some claim to it being independent or something. It's
No. Think about it on a map.
Same size? No, Uzbekistan's vast, isn't it?
Got no coastline?
Not only is there no coastline, but
There's no rivers.
they're what is known as doubly landlocked.
No rivers that connect to the sea?
No, it's if you look at...
you've got to go through someone else.
Yeah, you have to go through two countries to get to the coast, not one. And that's very
Hang on,
rare.
if you're in Bedfordshire, what are the two countries you go through?
In the case of Bedfordshire, it's counties, of course.
Okay. So it doesn't really
Well,
work.
that's a typing error. That's not a...
You can be a landlocked county and landlocked country, or in
Right,
the case
okay,
of
yeah.
Nebraska and Kansas, are landlocked states, for example. We might even have a look at Uzbekistan as well on the map, and as you see, you have to get through two countries, in this case Turkmenistan and Iran, to get to the sea. So it's very doubly landlocked, that's the point, which makes it very difficult for a country to get, obviously.
Are we going
ports.
to see Bedfordshire, Stephen?
Would you like to see Bedfordshire? You shall see Bedfordshire. There it is.
There we are, OK, now I know for
Northamptonshire
sure.
would be doubly landlocked if it didn't have a tiny 19-yard boundary with Lincolnshire. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? Otherwise it would... Yeah, well, not that amazing. All right. OK. The West Midland County, if you can call it a county, I never really accept these as counties, the Metropolitan County of the West Midlands is also doubly landlocked, you could argue, I think.
You don't accept the West Midlands?
Well, I don't think of it as a shire, you know, as a county.
He's in denial. It's really sad.
I mean, lovely in place, but why not, you know, Warwickshire and things? So much easier if they're all shire. Now, here's an easy one for you. What's the maximum amount of times you can fold a piece of paper in half?
7.
7, no. Yep. And you had an answer too?
8.
Would there be a maximum?
Yes.
Yeah, have
absolutely.
you never tried it?
Yeah, try.
Strangely not.
Now.
Try. Here's some.
Oh, paper.
There, pass one along to the boy next to you. Come on. Start folding.
2.
Oh,
Is it a race? 3.
Hang on, I wasn't...
24.
5.
I'm struggling on 6, Stephen.
Yeah, you would be.
They got some very exciting ideas for TV programmes these days. Paper folding, live.
I can't do 7, I'm out at 6.
I'm 6.
Yeah, that's that particular piece of paper, the A4 size. But an extraordinary thing, an American schoolchild developed a formula for determining the folding of paper. And we have that formula for you. You can examine it. There it is. She was very impressive. Her name was Brittany Gallivan. And what it shows is, if you feed the various variables into it, W is width, T is thickness of paper, L is length of paper, that what you need is length and thickness in order to get the right number.
That's them. That's them.
The audience.
That's them.
Yeah. You're running into danger.
That's just going to be snipped out straight on YouTube. It'll be a ringtone, it'll be everything. What you need is length
Are
and
you
thickness.
flirting with me?
Damn you all. You want...
And that'll be for text messages.
You want T to be a low number, so thickness is, if I'd finished, thickness low, length long, right? And she demonstrated this by using a long sheet of lavatory paper, in fact, which was very thin, and she managed to fold it 12 times. And finally, what does it mean when the Union flag is flying over Buckingham Palace? Yes, young Andrew.
I'm going to regret this. It means the Queen's home. Come and have a cup of tea. That's what it means. The Queen's in.
No, it does not mean the Queen's home.
It means...
Yep.
It means the Queen is about to get home. Put the electric blanket on.
Do they fly the Royal Standard when the Queen...
When the Queen is home, they fly the Royal Standard. Since 1997, when the Queen is not home, they fly the Union flag.
Beside the seaside.
It was Princess Diana.
Princess Diana died. The Queen was in Balmoral, being played by Helen Mirren at the time, if you remember. And what happened was, there was no flag to fly at half-mast. You couldn't fly the Royal Standard at half-mast because it was against all protocol. It was such a mess, the whole thing, that they then decided, all right, in future, just in case the sovereign is not at home, instead of there being, as you say, a bare flagpole, we will have the Union flag, so that then, when someone dies that the nation decides it's very fond of, they can go half-mast with that.
That was a great movie, but there's one moment in that I just did not believe at all, which was she was out in Sandringham, I think, or somewhere, or Balmoral, out on the moors, you know, with her Land Rover, and a stag.
That was a great scene, though.
Well, it was a great scene, but she says, oh, Shoo, or you Beauty, or whatever. She's a member of the royal family. She'd have blown it to bits. They should have dubbed on Philip. Keep it there!
He's talking to Betty. Come on.
He called her Cabbage in the film, didn't he, rather oddly?
Because she smells like a cabbage. Imagine if you look round and I just wasn't here now.
Good Lord.
When David Walliams met the Queen after swimming the Channel, and he took his mum with him, and the Queen came along and then Prince Philip, and the Queen said, now, you swam the Channel, didn't you? He said, yes, Mum. And he goes, but that's not all you do, is it? And he said, no, I'm in a comedy show. Oh, very good. And then off she went. Yeah. And then Prince Philip came, and he said to David's mum, are there any more nutters in your family?
Good. Anyway, the Queen's flag sergeant hoists the Union flag when the Queen is not in residence at Buckingham Palace. It's the royal standard that flies when the Queen is at home. And so we've circumnavigated the QI world and come all the way back to flags. But let's see who's been flying high with the wind in their sails and who's been flagging behind. Oh, my word, my goodnessy Wordington. Tonight, our Jolly Roger with 8 points is Charlie Higson. Well, pretty shipshape with -8. It's Rob Brydon. But sailing rather close to the wind with -15 points, Andy Hamilton. And finally, walking the plank with a report card that's all Fs, Alan with -19. Remains for me is to thank Andy, Rob, Charlie and Alan. And as we lower the QI flag, we raise a glass to curiosity. For as Dorothy Parker once said, the cure for boredom is curiosity. There is no cure for curiosity. And as Steve Wright added, curiosity killed the cat, but for a while, I was a suspect. Good night.
Dark comedy featuring Alan Rickman next on BBC Two, with some unexpected friendships forming as he stars alongside Sigourney Weaver and Carrie-Anne Moss in the Mark Evans film Snowcake.